Hey everyone, Rob Van Dyson here, once again up at Hobble Creek. Today is the 13th of June 2021, and this is take two because of some technical difficulties. Now sometimes you think having to do multiple takes would be a benefit because, hey, you guys think through stuff, and it's really not. Oh, usually not, especially when I'm talking about stuff like I'm talking about today. So, anyways, I have my fire going, and I pretty much have my fire going for two reasons. One is tradition, to do these videos with a fire. And even though it's 87 degrees Fahrenheit, not necessarily even desirable to have a fire right now. I do enjoy looking at the flames. I do enjoy practicing my skill at building fires and maintaining fires and all of that kind of stuff. And the second reason we'll get into a little bit later into the video. So, the main thing, as you can tell, this isn't exactly an easy subject for me to talk about. But one of the main things I kind of wanted to talk about is our pasts. And how they can both benefit and harm us. Now, in many ways, I have a fairly good past. While I've done a lot of dumb things, I've survived them. I've stayed out of jail so far. And I have a lot of happy memories. And even though I'm going to be talking about some of my more painful or unhappy memories, I don't want to sound like I'm coming across as a sob story. I have a lot of happy memories. And stories that I love to tell because they always make me smile whenever I think about them. To the point where my family starts rolling their eyes when they can see I'm going to go down one of these predictable paths. I also have a lot of bad memory. And I have a lot of trauma in my past. The funny thing is up until no more than 2 years ago, I didn't even realize that it was trauma. I didn't even realize that some of the stuff I went through was abuse. Now, to be clear, I was one of those kids who had to hide bruises when they went to school. I was never sexually assaulted. But there's other types of abuse. Some of it was perpetrated by people in my family. A lot of it was just people in my school. I was bullied a lot. And the way I dealt with it is I would take a lot of that abuse and essentially I just shove it in a metaphoric bag. For the D&D folks out there, like a bag of holding. And so I just take that and I just shove it in that bag, and I just shove it in that bag, and I just shove it in that bag, and I'd never let it out. you know. A lot of times if you ask me for specifics on what was in that bag, I couldn't tell you. You know, it's kind of like that key you find in a drawer and you're sitting there going, what is this for? And you're trying to go back through your memories and just, okay, well, it's too big for a padlock. You know, it doesn't look like a car key. And you just slowly start trying to work your way through it. And some things happened in the last couple of days where some of that stuff came out. And because I carry so much hurt, so much pain, so much anger inside that bag of holding, and because I realize how destructive it would be if I let that out, especially all at once. I keep that bag in a safe, and I wrap chains around that safe. And I keep everything inside. I don't let things out usually. And when they do erupt, they erupt like Mount St. Helens. And then I have to fight to get everything back under control, and then I have to go on and try and fix the damage that I did. I'm going to be 42 this month. I think someone just won their paintball game back there. So I'm going to be 42. I've been adding to this bag since at least 5. I got a lot of stuff in there. And it wasn't really until recently, like I said, no more than 2 years ago, that I just am slowly starting to come to a realization of how much of a problem this is. Now, I have a very good wife. Yeah, she drives me crazy sometimes. I drive her crazy most of the time, but I got a good wife. And after, I at least stemmed some of the damage from my last blow up. And I think this is the largest blow up I've ever had since we've been married. My wife has a better memory for that. She could tell you differently if it isn't. But, and to be clear, I never laid a hand on her. I'm not that kind of a guy. But after I regained control of myself and I apologized, we started talking. And she was helping me work through some of this stuff. And she works in the mental health industry. In fact, her mother's just started a new company, Papillon Healing Specialty. Papillon is a French word for butterfly. And she's also starting her own coaching. And so she's trying to help coach me through some of this stuff. And I was telling her this story about just how I actually have a very, very bad temper. if I let myself, I could be that asshole you hear on the news, excuse my language, who blew up and hurt people. That could be me. But because I'm cognizant and I don't want to be that person, I keep those chains on that safe. I've even built walls around it. And that's helped me get through. That's helped me keep out of the news. And it's also what's helped keep me from sticking a gun in my mouth. Because there have been times, especially like going through high school and stuff like that, I just wish I was dead. And while I never actually came close to actually killing myself, I remember one time I was crossing a busy street, Fort Weaver Road, coming home from school, and actually just wishing a car would hit me and take me out. It didn't, obviously. And overall, I'm glad it didn't. But as I was talking to my wife, and she knew most of this, I'm not too sure she realized quite the extent things went with me. And why I keep such a tight lid on my feelings. Why I am so careful with what I say, especially when I'm angry. And she told me something that she said before, and something that I intrinsically knew, is that my method of dealing with things isn't healthy. But even she will acknowledge that it's not completely without benefits. Like I said, I'm not out actively hurting people every time I get angry. I'm still here. I haven't killed myself. I don't engage in activities with the hope that I'll get killed. But I am a ticking time bomb. And so she gave me a tool that she used when she was at a similar point in her life. And then what she encouraged me to do was to get a pad of paper and write out all my hurt, all my pain. Now this isn't going to be something that's going to be easy for me to do, for multiple reasons. One of the reasons why I keep the chain so tight is because it scares me. I know I could be a bomb that hurts people. I don't want to be that. I do these vlogs mostly for myself, but I always try and think of how can I say something that might help someone else. Truly, I do want to help people. In different ways than my wife, who that's really a passion of hers is. But I do want to help people. Also because I'm going to have to go into deep, dark places. Going back to that key analogy, I'm going to have to figure out what a lot of this pain stems from. Because I didn't bother properly tagging things. I just shoved it in that bag so fast. Mainly because I didn't feel like I had much else of a choice. I didn't have an outlet for it. At least someone's having fun. But anyway, as I was thinking about this and trying to think of what I was going to talk about today, because I didn't originally intend to talk about this when I came up. A quote from Star Wars. And I'm a pretty decent Star Wars fan. I'm not an uber fan or anything like that, but I really enjoy most of the movies. I watch Star Wars TV shows and stuff like that. I know the Han Solo's blaster is a DL-44. Couldn't tell you all the other guns, but I can tell you that one. And things of that nature. And I've had very mixed feelings about the sequel trilogies and the directions they went. Not so much with the acting in them, but with some of the directions they took it. But there was an interesting quote that came out of there that came to mind. And it was from The Last Jedi, which I know is a very controversial movie among Star Wars fans. Seems that you either love it or hate it. And Kylo Ren was saying to Rey, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that would be a good quote to use in one of these videos, and a good way to talk about some things. And I even pulled up an article that was talking about it. And, he was talking about the power and the importance of that quote. And he's saying that, just taking whole cloth, it could be a recklessly dangerous way to approach life. Just throw away your past. Get rid of your past. Well, our past is why we are where we are, for good and for bad. Not or, and. I have learned a lot of lessons in my past that would be stupid for me to just get rid of. But looking back, especially at the events of the last couple of days in my personal life, I've come to a realization of just how much my past is holding me back. How much my trauma and abuse and things like that from my past were holding me back. And I need to get rid of it. I need to let it die. And in some cases, I need to kill it. Which is where the fire comes in. So I'm going to sit up here for probably a couple of hours. And I'm going to do what my wife asked me to do. And I'm going to start writing. And then when I'm satisfied, I'm going to take those papers and all the pain associated with that. I'm going to throw it in this here fire. Now that's just symbology. Doesn't mean that automatically everything's gone away, but symbols are powerful. There's a reason why we've used symbols from time immemorial. They're powerful in the human psyche. And by doing that, I hope to at least let part of my past die. To kill some of my past that's been holding me back, that has been very unhealthy for me. So that I can move on, unfettered. Or at least without those particular chains. Anyways, this is something that is highly personal. Something that is highly individualized. You can take two people who've gone through the exact same thing, and they'll have internalized it different, they'll have processed it different. So it's hard for me to give you hard, concrete answers of things to do. I can give you an example of what I'm going to do, but that may or may not work for you. But if nothing else is food for thought, what are some of the things in your past that you need to let die, that you need to kill if you must? Well, with that, I'm not even gonna do the standard like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You all know all of that. If you want to reach out to me, please leave a comment. And other than that, been dicing out.